Would you think opera sounded better if we just... If so, you're not the only one. Over the last few months, all of you, literally like half of our village of Twiddly Diddly upon Thames, have commented that you hate vibrato. Genuinely shocking to me. I didn't expect that. Clearly we need to talk about it. Why does opera have so much vibrato? Why is it not just decoration like it is in other styles? Is it a crutch for not being able to sing in tune? Are opera singers actually capable of even turning it off? Because surely we don't have to always sound like we're yawning while sitting on a washing machine. Like, wouldn't it be better if we just... The sky's so heavy with stars tonight. Hi, I'm Cait. I'm an opera singer. I've been singing opera for about 20 years. I have performed in touring ensembles and opera companies all over the world. I have a master's degree in operatic performance from the Royal College of Music, and in this video, we are going to find out if you actually do like opera better without vibrato. Let's go. Okay, we're gonna start with some definitions here because not all vocal shaking is created equally. Let's first look at what I am not talking about. First thing we're not talking about is vocal tremolo. Now, this bears its own little segue here, so apologies, we're gonna go on a small side quest. In the musical world, you've got two different kinds of tremolo. You've got the instrumental tremolo, where you just have the repeated note really, really fast. And then you've got vocal tremolo, which comes from sort of the same sort of vocabulary as vocal tremor. It is not a technique, it's kind of... Okay, I don't want to like stir any controversy here, but it's a little bit of a defect in the voice. In terms of classical singing, obviously it is not a defect in just like singing in general. There's nuance in this conversation. I guess it doesn't sound trained. It's just like, this is how I sing. Cool. Examples of this would be like Matt Bellamy from Muse.
Now it's time for changing and cleansing everything to forget your love.
Or singers who do have some training, like Freddie Mercury from Queen, but choose it for a vocal effect.
Every day I tried, but everybody wants to put me down. They say I'm gone crazy.
Okay, so we have the instrumental tremolo. That's a technique that's written in. That's something that instruments do. Versus vocal tremolo, which is usually an accident. So we are not talking about vocal tremolo. We're also not talking about vocal bleeding.
You need to bleed.
Not bleeding, bleating. I'm not sure that that's much better, actually. Bleeding is when you have the air pulsing instead of the actual pitch itself. So it's kind of like what you would hear flute players doing. Like using the air here to make the note wiggle. I always think of Shakira with this.
Oh, baby, when you talk like that, you make a woman go mad. So be wise and keep on reading the signs of my body.
All right, so we are not talking about tremolo, and we are not talking about bleating. We are also not talking about actually using your voice to like go around the pitch and sing all of the pitches just really quickly. I always think of this with like Dutch singers, traditionally Dutch singers. You're not doing where you literally have the pitch going and you're making that happen. That's not what we're talking about. Cool. Okay, so we are not talking about tremolo, we are not talking about bleating, and we are not talking about going up and down the pitches with your actual voice. And to be clear here, we're not passing any judgment. It's not like any of these are wrong or anything like that. You can sing however you want to, despite what some teachers may have told you. It's really just a matter of like how you want to sound and then how long you want to be able to sound like that. That's it. What we are talking about is frequency vibrato. This is where the pitch moves up and down around a fundamental tone without you actually doing anything in your voice to make that happen. I've got a whole video about the anatomical breakdown of how this actually works. You can go check that out. I'll link it in the description. But what you need to know is that frequency vibrato sounds like this. Ooh. All right, so for the rest of the video, we're gonna be talking about this, not this. So let's go back to that first question. Why does opera have so much vibrato? And I guess my follow-up question to myself would be, what do we mean when we say so much? To the graph nook! my God, this nook is too small. Help. Jesus, thank you. Now, there are two main components of vibrato. First, we have our width, which is how far that pitch moves from what's written on the page. And then we have our speed, which is how fast that happens. So already vibrato is not just on or off. It's a multi-dimensional spectrum. Here, I'll show you. Let's pop an example in each quadrant here. So first we got our tight and quick over here. That's that quintessential Snow White sound. And away to his castle we'll go. It could have been better, but you get what I mean. And then on this side, we have our tight and slow, which is kind of like what opera used to sound like, maybe like 80 or 100 years ago. All right, then we have our wide and quick, which is sort of in our times, we're used to hearing maybe like R&B type style with that sort of vibrato. I will not do it anywhere near as good as Beyonce can, but it's where you have your halo. Oh, it wasn't awful, but damn, I'm not a pop singer. And then we have our wide and slow. This is the old lady in the church choir. Sounds like, oh. You could actually even add like a third dimension here that would sort of target like what pitch you're going for. Like some types of styles will only have the vibrato go above the pitch. Some will only have it go under the pitch. Like if we think about Marilyn Monroe in Some Like It Hot, that I wanna be loved by you alone. Boop, boop, be-doo. Now you might be wondering, scientifically speaking, is there like a sweet spot for vibrato? Because sometimes it sounds pretty, right? There is. Sources in the description. We would call that like our golden area of vibrato. That doesn't really roll off the tongue, does it? Flip. Golden vibrato area. Better. It's small and fast enough that it still sounds like the same note, but not so small and fast that it sounds like you stuck a mosquito inside a cup. Now this sort of golden vibrato area, we can think of it like glitter. White and white with glitter are both undeniably white, but the white with glitter, love it or hate it, adds something a little bit extra. And just like glitter, vibrato can vary in size and amount. Some singers will go into their crafting closet, like vocally speaking, and they will find the glitter that they have always had in there, and they'll be like, I like this, and they'll stick with that forever. Other singers will be like, oh my God, there's so much other glitter out there in the world. I wonder what I can do by exploring all those different types of glitter. So back to our question about so much vibrato. This is one definition, that vibrato that sounds like it's outside that golden vibrato area. That makes it stick out, that makes you feel like there's so much vibrato. But what about another definition of so much? That vibrato can in fact be toggled on or off. And in opera, it is literally always toggled on and never, ever, ever at any moment gets toggled to off. Why? First of all, I want to validate your experience, okay? I know there are going to be some people who go into the comments and go, actually, you know what? In Baroque music, there are times that straight tone is called for, moments of harmonic tension. And like, yes, that's correct, but let's not pretend like we don't know what people are talking about when they say that opera always has vibrato. It just does. Can we not quibble about it? Go to literally any opera teacher and they will tell you that you should have vibrato on every single pitch longer than a millisecond. Why? Because frequency vibrato is a byproduct of correct classical vocal technique. Oh my God, why do you care about classical vocal technique? Why don't you just sing opera the way that you want to? I mean, you can. But the cool thing about opera, and I know I never shut up about this, but it is so fundamental to the craft, is that we sing without microphones. That's the point. Opera singers practice a 400-year-old technique that allows us to only use our bodies to project our voices over an orchestra to a theater full of thousands of people with no electronic amplification. And like, that's a pretty big thing to ask of your body. And not just to do it once, but to do it 3 to 4 hours a night, every day for 40 years. That's a lot. And in order to do that well without hurting yourself, there's a very specific technique that you have to use, just like you have to use in sports when you push yourself to the limit. An opera singer's instrument is like a soccer player's hamstrings or a surgeon's hands or a model's like snatched everything. If we break our instrument, we break our career. So vocal health is absolutely everything for a classical singer. And if we are told that constant vibrato is the best way to keep your voice healthy, we will worship at the altar of vibrato with a pietous, zealotous, fanatical conviction. Our Lord and Savior vibrato Christ, vibrato Hashem, Allahu Akbar vibrato. Taylor Swift has got nothing on how much we will shake off the threat of vocal injury. So let's go back to our question about why opera singers use so much vibrato and what that means. We have the size of the vibrato and we have the constant use of the vibrato. Not only is it always on, but also it is outside that golden vibrato area. Now we've established that opera singers do have control over the size and speed of their vibrato, and you might be asking yourself reasonably, why in God's name would anyone choose this?
Well,
opera vibrato is like fashion. It exists on trends. And for at least the last 20 years or so, wide, slow vibrato has been so hot. Whether we like it or not, this is what audition panels, juries, and agents want to hear. This is what gets you hired. And what that means is if you as an opera singer go into an audition and you're singing within that golden vibrato area, you're not gonna get the job. Okay, so constant vibrato means that you have a healthy voice per opera doctrine. Indoctrination, opera, there's something in there. A healthy voice means that you are hireable, and hireable means that we have a perpetuation of the style. And thus, modern opera sound equals constant, wide, slow vibrato. So yeah, we as opera singers all pay our respects to the Korok shrine with our vibrato apples, but like it never occurred to me while I was in the industry that this might not be something that audiences like. You guys have actually been the ones who have made me realize just how controversial vibrato actually is. So, in the spirit of sending a few purists to the hospital, I kind of want to find out if I do actually like opera better with vibrato off. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna work our way around this graph here. I will give you 5 different examples of ways that vibrato could be used, and then we'll find out what we like. Starting with the control. This is the stuff that will get you hired in an opera house today. So it's big, wide, slow vibrato. The sky is so heavy with stars tonight that it could fall right down heaven and cover us up and cover us up in one big blanket of velvet and diamonds. I like really struggle not to put my hands like this. Okay, so that's the kind of thing that like, I don't know if that would actually get me hired, but that is the sort of thing that people are looking for in the industry. So now we have our control. Now let's take our little toggle and just truly no vibrato. The sky is so heavy with stars tonight that it could fall right down out of heaven and cover us up and cover us up in one big blanket of velvet and diamonds. It's a very sort of like chorister technique is what it makes me think. It's not like the tuning isn't hard in the first one, but it's harder in this one. Don't know that I feel like it's more expressive though. All right, so now we're gonna have our first middle ground, sort of like Baroque opera, art song sort of style, where we start with straight tone and then just allow a little bit of vibrato to come into it. So it's not totally straight, but it's not totally vibrato. The sky is so heavy with stars tonight that it could fall right down out of heaven and cover us up and cover us up in one big blanket of velvet and diamonds. It's interesting because I feel like I found myself coming off the voice a little bit there. Like I wasn't supporting quite as much all the way through in an effort to make it sound a little prettier. When you're singing with like full classical technique with everything turned on here, and then you just turn off the vibrato piece, it does really make it sound quite ugly. So I actually toggled off a few other things here to make that work the way that I want it to, which is it's a choice. All that would mean is that I can't take that into an opera house. I wouldn't be able to carry that sound into an entire theater in a healthy way. I think I did like it though. That might have been my favorite so far. Now I'm just curious. I kind of want to hear. I haven't really tried to do the old-fashioned style of singing, like the 80 to 100 years ago type of vibrato. So I want to see what that sounds like, where it's constant, but just like what opera used to be instead of what it is now. The sky so heavy with stars tonight that it could fall right down out of heaven and cover us up, and cover us up in one big blanket of velvet and diamonds. Yeah. Hey, that's not bad. I kind of like that one. I wonder if I was in like a louder section, if I would enjoy it quite as much. What do you think, Cleo? You're going to expose us as a fraud. The piano's not on. Nee, jij vindt het verschrikkelijk, hè? Yeah. Too hard. Doe ik. Okay, just for shits and giggles, we have to do one more because the amount of times that we get accused of having a wobble in opera, and like, to be fair, some people do. Let's see what it sounds like. I really, really hope that you guys haven't thought that up until now that I sounded like I had a wobble. Boy, I mean, you'll let me know. You'll let me know. I guess it's better that I'm aware. I really hope that's not the case. This is what a true wobble would sound like. This is gonna be nuts. The sky so heavy with stars tonight that it could fall right down out of heaven and cover us up, and cover us up in one big blanket of velvet and diamonds. I wish that was a little less easy than it was. Boy, I can see why people fall into this. That was not difficult. Not nice though. It didn't sound good, to be clear. So I'm curious now, what do you think? I think if I had to choose, if I was recording in a studio, I would want it to be that like sort of art song approach, but I've always liked that. That's like slight chorister vibes. But if I'm in an opera house, then like, obviously, I think you guys know on this channel, I'm biased towards the older golden age opera sound. I just think it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful, and I don't know why we ever left it behind. At the end of the day, I love opera. I love the art form of it. I think it is so cool to be able to use that technique to get yourself into a theater without a microphone. So like, am I gonna fight for vibrato in opera? Hell yeah, definitely. I don't think that opera would be the same without it. But I'm curious what you guys think. Did this fix opera for you? Do you actually like it better with straight tone? I want to know. Let me know. All right, that's it. Bye.